There's been a lot of talk in recent years about poker machines and the need for poker machine reform. But regrettably, most of it has been just that, just talk. And here we are in late 2015, and there still are about 100,000 Australians who are poker machine problem gamblers. Just that group is losing close to $5,000 million each year on the pokies. Surely there's a pressing need for urgent reform, but governments, a succession of governments, have done next to nothing. The reason that a succession of federal governments have done next to nothing about poker machine problem gambling is that both the Liberal Party and the Labor Party are indeed strong supporters of the poker machine industry. In fact, the Labor Party even owns poker machine venues in the ACT. And the Liberal Party is a strong supporter of business more broadly. And that's why you see with the current inquiry into online and sports betting that it's almost entirely about protecting the business interests of Australian online gambling houses and not dealing with the increasing incidence of online problem gambling. But we can't simply blame the Liberal Party and the Labor Party for the lack of poker machine reform in this country. We've also got to blame the poker machine industry, which has shown itself to be absolutely ruthless when it comes to pursuing cash and more cash. That's why it cites most poker machines in disadvantaged areas where it thinks it has the best chance of collecting the most revenue. That's why it gives enormous donations to political parties and political candidates. It's a ruthless industry. It will bully, it will do whatever it needs to do to stop reform. And when in the previous parliament there was the prospect of meaningful reform, the industry threw millions of dollars at stopping it in its tracks. And with a new parliament, the current parliament, the industry applied massive pressure to see the previous parliament's reforms overturned. Regrettably, what's sometimes lost in the public and political debate about the need for poker machine reform is the human dimension of the problem. The fact that all of those 100,000 poker machine problem gamblers are people. They're mums and dads, husbands and wives, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, friends, work colleagues. They're human beings that are losing more than they can afford. Many are losing their life savings or their home, or they can't afford to pay their bills. They can't afford to feed or clothe their children. Some even take their own lives. Some resort to crime. This is a human dimension of unfathomable proportions. And surely if we had good politicians, they would understand that this is a human tragedy. And if they did understand it, and I suspect many do understand it, then they would take strong action to diminish problem gambling and to diminish the terrible harm that is caused to so many people in our community. And the first thing those politicians would do, those that decide to act, would be to pick up the 2010 Productivity Commission report into problem gambling in Australia. Because in that report is the blueprint for reform. The blueprint that says we must nationally have $1 maximum bets on all poker machines. And that as a country, we must have a pathway to the implementation of mandatory pre-commitment on all poker machines. So we know what to do. The Productivity Commission has given it to us. What we need now are decent politicians making decent decisions. Politicians who care about the community, care about the public interest, and genuinely care about helping poker machine problem gamblers.